Hey everybody. I'm a person that looks at a lot of things on the news, a lot of stuff when it comes to politics and the Trump administration. And I saw a report. I don't know if it's true or not, but in the report they said that it was a news article. They said that Marjorie Taylor Greene is thinking about leaving the Republican Party, and I don't know if it's true. Like I said, allegedly, but I wouldn't be surprised if she did leave the Republican Party. I mean, I've looked at a lot of her, her views on a lot of different issues when it comes to Israel and the government and things like that. And, it's sort of opposite of what a lot of the mainstream Republicans, sort of opposite of how they feel. And, she seems like a person, because I've watched her over time, and I remember when she first got elected and folks couldn't stand her. Like, people were like, oh, this woman is so horrible and this and that. And I think now that more people see her on podcasts and are listening to her, now she's, gaining some people over. I wouldn't say that, she's somebody that everybody likes, but now it's just like some folks are like, oh, well, I agree with her. And, oh, I'm surprised that, I share the same viewpoint. So, I think the opinion of Marjorie Taylor Greene is starting to change a little bit, especially with, her stance on Israel. And, she seems like, well, I wouldn't say she seems like, but out of a lot of the politicians in Washington, D.C. right now, she's one of the rare few that will speak out, especially on Israel. I mean, a lot of these politicians in Washington, D.C., they're paid by AIPAC, and, they act like, Israel is like just a perfect place. And they act like Benjamin Netanyahu is like some angel. And, Marjorie Taylor Greene has been winning folks over on social media because you might not agree with everything she says, but when it comes to Israel, a lot of folks agree with her. And, a lot of folks are saying, what's going on in Israel is wrong. There's a lot of corruption. And she was one of the folks to come out and say, why are we spending so much money in Israel when we could be helping Americans, right here in America? Like, a lot of the folks in the, Trump administration and even his supporters, a lot of folks were so happy when, folks were talking about, oh, well, this administration will be America first and all this other stuff. And now people are saying, well, wait a minute, is it America first or is it Israel first? Because we seem to be giving a lot of money and a lot of things to Israel when there's infrastructure and things in America that we could fix. And so, I applaud her for at least, speaking up and just, not being scared to address, certain issues. And, if you contrast that to the other Republicans and even Democrats, as soon as you mention Israel, they will almost want to just walk down the street and act like they didn't hear you. And, it's a shame because, the only way to solve problems and the only way to move the world forward is for folks to have dialogue and for folks to discuss, different topics and different things. I mean, it's almost like, they talk about everything else, but as soon as you say Israel, all the politicians, act like, oh, well, I don't have a comment. I don't know what to say. It's crazy to me. And, I think that with the crisis in Palestine and a lot of these different places around the world, people being able to talk about things openly, discuss things, have free speech, I think that is like one of the most important things that can take place, when it comes to these different topics and these different wars and different things like that. And so, in the comments section, just let me know how you feel about Marjorie Taylor Greene and if you think she's going to leave the Republican Party. Thank you.